Okay, welcome everybody. We are doing Shaar number 2 of our Shaar HaBitachon. So we are starting from page 7. So here's what we're going to do. It's going to be, the only thing that's going to be a drop different than last week is that I'm going to try to take a few pauses to help people think. Not just like keep reading and going, but like think and internalize. So, okay, so let's give a quick summary. Some of the main things we discussed in the past is that having bitachon is not just a beautiful religious, like, oh, I feel more spiritual now, live in Sfas. Like, it's like actually, even if you're living in Brooklyn, New York, and the traffic and the subway, you know, and everyone's screaming and shouting, it actually has physical ramifications and benefits for us as well. No, everyone in Sfas, I know you guys have traffic also, don't worry. But that was one of the main topics. Another one was that there was a beautiful discussion about if we trust in someone or something else other than Hashem, then Hashem puts us under the rulership of that dominion. So for example, if we trust that our entire livelihood is in our bank account, then that's like where everything is at. So then Hashem will say, okay, if you trust the bank account, so then I'll let you live within the rules and nature of the bank account. And sometimes banks make mistakes and sometimes things happen. And so therefore, the thing we put trust on, which is anything except Hashem, makes it that it's not a perfect thing. Hashem is the only thing that is absolutely perfect. So therefore, there's more of a possibility and chance for there being mishaps. Does that make sense? And then we also discussed the fact that we're not going to get too stuck on psukim, because if we get stuck on the psukim, then we lose the point of what he's trying to say. And again, I'm going to help you guys with this because it's everywhere. It's from Tanya to every single place in Torah that there's psukim. Hi, welcome. That a lot of people have this tendency to like, okay, I'm going to learn in depth, which means I'm going to grab the pasuk, I'm going to understand it, I'm going to understand the background and the foreground and the everything and all the details. But in reality, we end up going on and trailing off to like a different type of discussion with different type of like take on things. So for example, one of them was for my people have committed 2 evils. They have forsaken me, the spring of living water, to dig themselves cisterns, broken cisterns that do not hold water. So it's really nice, and we can go and discuss exactly where it came from and the history of the pasuk and what's a cistern, what does mean broken, but we may get a little confused and lost and lose the point of what we're trying to get to. Okay, does that make sense? So that's why we're going to try and go quicker, and we're going to try swiftly through the text, because again, our goal is to get practical application and not necessarily to sit and like dissect every single line. We're going to try and get the full understanding. Mitzvah Hashem, as you keep learning, and I do this with Tanya as well. That's why our initial Tanya course, we go through it fast. We go through it to get the practical, and then there's further Tanya courses that get deeper. Does that make sense? So too here. This one, our goal is to go through it quickly and practically, and then Mitzvah Hashem, if we have an interest, we can do another one and delve a little deeper. Okay. Another beautiful thing, as people trickle in, is the idea, he goes through a whole bunch of benefits in a whole list, which I love, because one of the practical applications that I get from it is that many of us, especially now in modern day and age, we are constantly checking how many people saw our WhatsApp status, how many people liked this comment, how many friends. I recently had someone comment, it's not someone I'm very close to, but like made a comment about like, oh, you know, I have 700 and da-da-da friends on Facebook. And I realized like, oh, wow, I haven't checked how many friends I have on Facebook in years. Honestly, I haven't checked Facebook in years, but that's a different story. But my point is that one of the most beautiful things that he gave as part of the notes of what we gain is the fact that our self-worth and we don't have to be quote unquote sucking up to anyone for our self-worth. We don't have to be, what they think of us doesn't make us who we are. We have that within ourselves, and having bitachon, having the realization that Hashem is the one and only, and Hashem is the one who takes care of everything, that gives us that feeling. Does that make sense? It gives us that freedom, that self-confidence. Okay, so I guess that was the short introduction of what we did last week, or short recap of what we did last week. Now we're going to start on page 7. And again, the reason why I'm reading one of them is because sometimes it's hard. Thank you. Sometimes it's hard to concentrate when everybody has to read. And then sometimes, I know this for myself, when I wasn't the one teaching and it was my turn to read, sometimes I would flip out and I wouldn't actually pay attention to anything I read. So I'm reading for that. And I'm also reading so that the recording is cohesive and all in one. But we're going to take a few stops, and if you guys want to speak, or if it's just time to think, then we can do that. Welcome. 1, 2. Hello. This version, okay, there's 2 options. This one is different page numbers, so you're just going to have to whatever. Or that one is the same page, but it's a little waterlogged. Whichever one you'd like.
So this one.
Okay.
I'll figure it out.
Awesome. Okay, so we're about to start on what here is called page 7. And I'm not sure what page that is. Oh, okay, great. There you go.
This is
So personally, I am a huge fan of this one. The format, it's exact same. Just I like the format.
This is from, I took it home. I have to find it.
Oh, that's really funny. So this one has the footnotes has on the bottom, and that one the footnotes are as part of the text. Okay, so let's start. Page 7. So now we're going to discuss the 10 advantages. Oh, really? Oh, awesome.
Because the footnotes are different, but it's on the bottom, it's back on the bottom instead of the middle.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah, yes, that's what page 7.
Okay, beautiful. So, I want to explain again, because we did last week, but just in case anyone missed, an alchemist, way back when, it was this incredible thing that everybody thought it was like the greatest thing in the world, because they would take different minerals and different potions or whatever and turn certain metals into either gold or silver. And being that the money then was gold or silver, it means that they were, what do you call it, money laundering? Money printers. So they had this power. Yes. There's actual napkins in the kitchenette if you want to get. You can bring a copy. Hi! Welcome. Pass here. Just put a bunch on the table. There we go. Okay, so an alchemist back then is the same thing as what we now call money laundering, right? So they had like all this power, and everybody thought they were the greatest because they could technically come up with gold and silver whenever they wanted. Meanwhile, we're going to learn here that even though at that time they were the greatest in the world, in reality, there were many issues with what they were doing. And a lot of us now, we have to come at the end, we'll think like, how does this play? Because I personally, I don't know about anyone in this room, but personally, I don't do money laundering. So I don't have this issue. I'm pretty sure no one in the room does. But at the same time, there's something to be learned from this. So now we're going to see the 10 advantages that somebody who trusts in Hashem has over an alchemist. Does that make sense? Okay. Oh, thank you. Okay. Number 1. The alchemist requires, okay, good. The alchemist requires special materials to perform his operation, without which he cannot do anything. Okay, I don't think that was me. Okay. So basically he needs all these materials. These materials are not found at all times and in all places. But for one who trusts in Hashem, his sustenance is assured and can come through any means of all the means of the world, as written. And he fed you man, which you knew not, neither did your fathers know. That he, Hashem, make known to you that man does not live by bread alone. For at no time and in no place are the means of abstaining his livelihood withheld from him, as you know already from the story of Eliyahu and the ravens, or with the widow and the cakes and the water in Melachim. The story of Avadia and the prophets. Oh, if anybody doesn't yet know, there's an incredible, I should have brought it. There's an incredible children's book called Elisha. Beautiful. I honestly, when it's my son's turn to read, like bedtime book, I always hope that he picks that one. It's and you actually get to learn. Yeah, it's so beautiful. Prophet Elisha. It's a kid's book, but it is a kid's adult book. It is so beautiful. So anyway, so a lot of these stories, you can go and check them out over there. I hid among the prophets of Hashem 100 men, 50 in each cave, and I fed them bread and water. So this Avadia was one of the students of Elisha, and he would come to the cave, to all these caves where everybody was hiding from the Romans, and he would give them and give them and give them and give them. Meanwhile, he was in huge debt because he had to come up with all this food and water and whatever to give 100 students. But somehow Hashem always took care of him. So it's a really beautiful story. And not only that, but after he passed away, so this is also a beautiful story that Chassidus has a whole, the Rebbe has a whole beautiful sikha on it. But somebody came and the rulers at the time came and said, okay, we're here to take back the debt that you owe us, or your husband owes us, but you can't pay it, so we're going to take your kids instead. So she went to Elisha crying, and she said, my husband always did everything you said, and he always took care of your students. Please help us. So that's when Elisha said, borrow all the pots and all the, there's a name for that. Yeah, whatever, kalim, vases, jugs, and whatever, from all of your neighbors, and close the door and take this oil and pour. Everybody knows the story by now. So that is Avadia's life. So this is what we're saying, that even an alchemist spends all this time, and he thinks he's so great making this gold and quote unquote making gold and making silver, but he needs materials in order to do that. And his materials are not always available. Meanwhile, Hashem can take care of you at any point in time. At any point in time. And I want to share a personal story. I asked the person for permission. I just shared it with Rita, but I asked the person for permission if I could share it, and she said yes. So as many of you know, we're actually working on a campaign. It's our once a year fundraising campaign that allows us to do all the other programs we do for the entire year. And it is starting on Sunday. It's Sunday and Monday. It's Hashem. So as part of the kinnis, I took on an achlata to write to the Rebbe about our event before and after the event. And Monday night, Baruch Hashem, we had a really beautiful event. And I came home and I was so excited, and I wrote to the Rebbe about it. And I said, Rebbe, we're a drop short with our matchers for this matching campaign. And I've been working so hard for the past month and a half. I've really been working so hard. And I please help that, like, all this hard work that I put in, please help that, like, the donors should come to us. Like, I've been like going and doing, but like help them. Like, we're doing good things. And I know that, we're doing good things because you give us so many brachas. So like, please. Anyway, that was Monday night. I wrote my letter, sent it in. Thank God for that app. And then I have this thing that I don't turn on my phone till midday. The next day I take my time to daven, spend time with my kids. I like do the things I need to do and get my Hashem glasses on, as our logo speaks about. And I turn on my phone Tuesday around midday, and this person, amazing, Tzedekis, I had messaged her like a week and a half trying to set an appointment to see if she would like to be a matcher for this year's campaign, and she just never got back to me. And I see a message from her. Hi, sorry, I was on vacation. Thank you so much for reaching out. We would love to be matchers. Let's speak more. So sometimes the parnasa and whatever brachas you need, you may not know where it's coming from. You may not realize, but just like man, it just kind of drops out of nowhere. Not out of nowhere. It drops out of Hashem. And we just have to realize that we have to do our part. We have to do our keli, just like they did, but we can't be reliant on it. We have to be reliant on the Eibishter. So it's not easy, trust me. As I said in the last class, bitachon goes from here, but it somehow has to get to here. Like it's a process, but at least we're starting. Okay. So continuing on. I'm sorry? Yes, I'm on 7. The last quote said, 100 men, 50 in each cave, and I fed them with bread and water. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Bread alone?
Yes. Okay. In other words, Ovadia was a means to provide for these prophets, and that's Pas Lachem is one of the commentaries that we read on this. And young lions suffer want and are hungry, but those who seek the Lord lack no good. It says Tehillim, fear the Lord, his holy ones, for there is no want for those who fear him. So, yeah, that's number 1. This alchemist, he thinks he's the greatest and he can make money and he's reliant on it, but the materials he needs in order to make all this money are not always available. Meanwhile, for us, somebody who trusts in Hashem, even if our materials are not available, the Eibishter can always work it out for us. Does that make sense? So that's number 1. Number 2, the alchemist must perform actions and follow procedures without which he cannot successfully complete his goal. It is even possible that the fumes and odors will cause his death, along with the long work and great effort with them day and night. But one who trusts in Hashem is secure against mishaps, and his heart is assured against future potential bad things. Whatever comes to him from Hashem, he will accept with joy and gladness, and his livelihood comes to him peacefully, quietly, and happily. As written, he causes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. Right? So basically, this alchemist, he's making money. He's feeling great. He's going to be a multimillionaire as long as he, can get this batch to all turn into gold. But that process takes time, and it's chemicals. It's chemicals that he mixes in order to make gold. So those same chemicals could actually be very dangerous for him, and could kill him. But meanwhile, as long as we do what the Eibishter tells us to do, and we do our part in a healthy way with the trust of Hashem, then even when we could get all the money we need, or we can get all the brachas that we need, and even when we don't get it, we realize that the Eibishter is doing good for us. Like, maybe at this point, this is not what's meant to be. And, there's so many crazy stories where, like, for example, there's a lot of famous stories about, like, 9/11, and all the people from Yidden that didn't pass away because they were late to work that day because it was slichus. Like, oh, shucks, I'm working so hard. And what if I'm going to be late? My boss is going to be so upset for an entire month or whatever. Not for us, it's not a month. For starters, it's a month. But, for a week or however long, we're going to be late. But meanwhile, like, we have to realize that could have been the thing that saved us. You see what I mean? Like, it's a realization that...
You know what you're saved from.
Exactly. you're always in the right place. Like Hashem can give you the parnas, Hashem can give you the bracha, and if he doesn't, maybe now's not the right time to have that bracha. As we discussed last week, like maybe this bracha would have been taken away from me. Like this parnas I was about to get, maybe it would have, I would have gone a ticket or something.
Hashem can speak to me somehow. They will be able to let go and just.
Yes.
What really helps me is to just say out loud, it's really like it's a good practice, and then like it calms you also. You know that it's from Hashem. Like that's it.
Yeah, and again, that's why the introduction. One of the parts of the introduction is like, what we're gonna do is we're gonna feed here. To get it to here, and like that those nights where you're really stressed out, and to actually be able to like fall asleep and not. It's an avodah. But the start is to have the knowledge, and then you can work on mayach shal. Like you can work on telling it to yourself. Last week I was saying how much I was stressing out about this fundraiser, and I was like, okay, I know the Shaar HaBitachon is like talking to me, but like, like I was like still stressed out. So it's an avodah, and it's like, don't think there's a perfect, just because Michal's teaching this year, she got it perfect. Like, trust me, I don't.
Inspired when we're reading it. It's like, it's so exciting when you go home.
Right. So the beauty is that you'll have it, and at least you'll have the battle when you go home. Like there's going to be something else that Yetzer Tov, that's our nefesh kiss, whatever we want to call it, that's going to be like, no, you did learn. It's a beautiful reminder. I went through a intense traumatic experience in the summer, and I actually went to like a specific type of therapy to like go like release it or whatever. And at one point the therapist said, she goes, okay, like, are you ready to like let it go? And I said, no, like right now I don't feel the pain, and I don't feel the like trauma of it, but I don't want it to go, because I know that for whatever reason Hashem put me in this place, and I've always felt like I'm like this like funky type of carbon that I can go through things, so I'm able to help others. And she like at the end when we like finished the session, she looked at me and she was like, that's amazing. Like I'd never heard someone say that. Like people just want to like get rid of it. I'm like, I need to appreciate what I went through in order to like have that knowledge. Hashem put me here for a certain place and like for a certain reason, and like at some point in my life I'm gonna like need to help somebody with that. Like it just, and sadly I recently did. So yeah, but whatever. It's something that we work on and we live on, and it's a struggle, but anyway. Okay. Number 3.
Interesting concept of letting go. Like you need to first think the experience almost, like be happy it happened almost, and that's the only way you can really let it go. Otherwise you're just pretending. Like yeah, of course you want to let it go, but do you really want to let it go? Like every part of you? It's like otherwise you're just pretending, because you're not. You basically need to like appreciate every part of whatever it gave you. Be like, I got only good out of this. Like this is all good, and then you're letting it go because you got whatever you needed.
Yes.
But until you got whatever you needed by appreciating
yes.
it, then you're not able to let it go, because God is like, you didn't get everything, so it's still gonna be.
Yeah. And there's also like the aspect of, the lesson. Like, okay, Hashem put me here for a reason. Like, what is that? What can I gain from this? How can I help someone else? And I talk about this a lot. Even a few months ago, I spoke for Beis Rivka High School, and I said to them, like, imagine if somebody would turn to you and say, hey, I know the struggle that you're going through. I've been there, and I can help you with it. How much nicer would that be? Like, how much? But meanwhile, none of us do, because we're all too focused on our struggle, instead of turning back and saying, hey, somebody else, maybe younger or maybe in a different, class, might be going through that similar struggle. I could just turn around and help them. And like, then it doesn't become a negative. It's not like something that's Hashem did against me. I'm so angry at him for torturing me. It's more like, okay, you're teaching me something, and I'm meant to turn around and help someone else with this. Does that make sense? How much more so, like, when you're the one helping, someone could help you. Like we're meant to be helping each other. That's my, yeah. But yes. Yeah, we can all, be in this together. Okay, right? So number 3. This is a good one. Number 3, the alchemist does not trust anyone with a secret due to fear for his life. But one who trusts Hashem does not fear any man on account of his trust. On the contrary, it is the source of honor, as David HaMelech said, in Hashem I trusted, I will not fear, what can a man do to me? Right? So this person thinks he's so rich, he thinks he has the power of the world because he can make money. And meanwhile, if he were to tell someone, he could get in trouble with the, Better Business Bureau or whatever. And he could actually get killed because that person wants to, take his materials and probably do his job. Right? That's dangerous. So you're constantly living in fear. But meanwhile, if we trust Hashem, what is there to fear? There's that famous, I forgot who it was. One of the Tanaim or Amarayim, I can't remember, but was walking and I think stepped on a snake, but the snake didn't do anything. Do you guys know this story? Okay, it's Hashem. Yeah, so the snake didn't do anything. I'll get the story properly for next week. And the answer was that he had so much trust in Hashem that the snake was like, whoa, you are greater than me. Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
So much in psychology, it's like a thing like that, people we treat others how to treat us based on how we show up to other people. Mm-hmm. And that's this concept so much like if you totally show people that no, I'm not afraid of you, I'm only afraid of Hashem, I'm not afraid of circumstance, I'm not afraid of whether you approve of me or not, because I don't need your approval to approve of myself. God approves of me, that's all that's necessary. People totally get that energy without you having to say any of that.
Right.
And it totally a snake.
Permeates, exactly. Permeates, yeah. Okay, number 4. The alchemist must either prepare one large quantity of gold and silver for long-term needs, or must prepare small batches for short-term needs. If he prepares a large quantity, all his days he will fear for his life that perhaps, all the gold and silver will be lost in any number of ways, and he will be left penniless. And his heart will never quiet, nor his mind will be at peace, due to fear of the king of the people finding his big stash of gold. That would be so stressful. Especially because back then they didn't have a credit card. They couldn't just keep it in a safe and swipe. You had to schlep that stuff around. I'm just schlepping heavy gold everywhere and being terrified that someone's gonna come take it. That's pretty rough. If he makes small batches for short-term use, it is possible he will not successfully perform the procedure at a time of great need due to a failure on one of his means. Let's read number 8. Footnote number 8, if you guys can see it. In other words, even if he is successful, he is in a constant state of worry. Likewise, in our times, we can observe that anyone who is successful in business is also worried about many factors, unless he trusts in Hashem. Hence, he is just like the alchemist. Crazy, huh? Shakes my world, this Shaar HaBitachon. Okay. Any questions, comments? All good, everybody? Okay. But one who trusts in Hashem has strong peace of mind that Hashem will provide for him at any time he wishes and in any place. Just like he sustains the fetus in its mother's womb, or the chick inside an egg, which has no openings to enter anything from the inside, and birds in the air or fish in the sea, and the tiny ant despite its weakness, while the mighty lion some days cannot obtain food, as written, young lions suffer want and are hungry, but those who seek Hashem lack no good. And Hashem will not starve the soul of the righteous. And I have been young and now I'm old, yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken nor his seed begging bread. That is huge. I love how, I think this is the second or third time that he brings this pasuk, young lions.
Mentions here
Translator, notice, dear reader, that this pasuk was brought 3 times already.
There you
Perhaps the
go.
intent is to teach one to repeat such verses himself whenever you can as a way of working on trust.
Beautiful.
I like the marshal that he gives, about the womb. If you think about it, it's and other ideas could be like Hashem is like from above protecting, right? But this is like an encompassing, like
Mhm.
so like a womb. It's from every side, and same thing with an egg. Every from every side. Hashem is everywhere, like really truly.
Yeah.
Like that's actually like a very powerful message.
And there's this joke of twins in the womb.
I was gonna say that. I love it. Go for it.
They're discussing if they believe in life after birth.
What, the
I don't know
song?
exactly how the show, but
Amy
the fact
Rottenberg
is that
song?
you can be all encompassed by Hashem's, giving, and everything in your life comes from Hashem. Like the life of these children comes from the mother, and still they don't know if their end will be after they come out or.
Yeah, so the one I saw was really funny. It was like having this whole discussion, and at one point they're like, I wonder if this concept of mom is real. We don't see her, she doesn't talk to us, like she's not like cuddling us. This whole concept of a mom, I don't know if it's real or not. We feel like they're twins in a womb. So like honestly, I feel like, hello, like we're here. Exactly, we're in the womb, we're here. And as much as we may not see Hashem, but like, trust me, we hear the heartbeat, even within, we're here. Okay. Number 5. The alchemist is under anxiety and fear of everyone, for the greatest to the lowest of people are as a consequence of his work. But one who trusts in Hashem will be revered by great men and honorable people. Even animals and stones seek to do his will. In other words, do not harm him. As written in the entire Tehillim, he who sits and in 6 troubles he will save you, and in the 7th no harm will touch you until the end of the matter. So yeah, we actually kind of spoke about this, but yeah, this is the story of the animal. I should have prepared it, but it's, yeah, I don't know. It's amazing. Any questions, comments? I'm just like, wow, as I reread this. Okay, number 6. The alchemist is not immune from sickness and disease, which hinders his joy in being wealthy and prevents him from benefiting from what he has and enjoying what he has acquired. But one who trusts in Hashem is immune from sickness and disease except as an atonement or to increase his reward, as written. Now youth shall become tired and weary, and young men shall stumble. Those who hope in Hashem will renew strength, and for the arms of the wicked who trust in their strength shall be broken, but Hashem supports the righteous. So I told the story last week of this young shliach who was doing this, his first event, and he hosted it at this public space, like one of these like whatever public town halls or whatever. And he spent a lot of money into it, and he was hoping to at least charge entry fee, like the tickets to get in for this parade or carnival thing. And came the guard of this space and said, you're not allowed to charge anything in this location. And not only that, but now you broke the contract because you even put up a sign about charging. So now you have to pay us like a fee for being here. And this poor shliach like turned pale, to say the least. And yeah, so we'll just like sit with that for a second. Then comes this person who has had many troubles in his life. A lot of his family has passed away through illness, and has gone through a crazy amount of things in the community, and came over and said to the shliach, he goes, I know that you're in pain, and I know this is really hard, and I know you're like freaking out and trying to figure out how you're going to pay back, all this money that you spent right now. But just realize that any trouble with money can be fixed. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but at some point it can be fixed. There are other troubles in the world, which is what we're talking about here, sickness and those types of struggles that you can't just pay it off and you can't just swipe the credit card and pay it later. So it's amazing to realize that our trust and our health also needs to have, it's not just money we're talking about, we're also talking about bringing Hashem into our health situations, whatever they are. The Eibishter is there, and the Eibishter is the one controlling them, and the Eibishter is the one who's going to help us move past it and out of it. Does that make sense? So it's a really big deal because it's not just about money.
But also it gives a different perspective, right? The pasuk. It gives a different perspective on sickness, because it's not only that we trust that we're protected and that everything is okay, but that whatever we're going through, Malenu, right, is either as an atonement or to increase reward. So it's like another side of the coin. One side of the coin is like, oh, Hashem is gonna help me, but the other side of the coin is, this is what is happening is either for me to increase my reward or for atoning.
Right.
And that's pretty Musardik, but I feel like
I was gonna say this is a Musar book.
yeah, but I feel like it's a beautiful. I feel like when the Rebbe, I got this recommendation in girls' college when I was going through like a specific like mood situation, and the Rebbe for in many occasions suggested this for anxiety and depression. And it gives that perspective. It's basically, it can be, I remember my rabbi said that there is such a thing as Hasish Musar. There is such a thing, so we can see this as, it's not that we as Hasidim, we just get rid of the idea of atonement and but we can also just think about it for a little bit, that maybe we have to fix something. Maybe, Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
So many different aspects and facets of the Torah that you find what inspires you.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever's going to put you in a more
Better place. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You never know everything.
Yeah.
You're not going to learn everything. So
Yeah.
this will choose what
Yeah.
makes you feel closer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the beauty of Hasidus actually is that it gives different perspectives on different things and different interpretations on different things. Like from what I know, there could be a very lineal and like one single-minded approach to certain, things in Torah. From other, trends in Judaism, but Hasidus gives different, it's like very accommodating to, people's needs.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really beautiful. Okay, number 7. It is possible that the alchemist would not be able to buy food with his gold and silver due to no food being available in the city at the times, as written, they shall cast their money in the streets, and neither silver nor gold will be able to save them. But for one who trusts in Hashem, his sustenance will not be blocked at any time or in any place, as written, in famine he redeemed you from death. And Hashem is my shepherd, I shall not lack. And they will not be shamed in time of calamity, and in days of famine, they shall still be satisfied. Yeah, so even if you have all the money, we have to talk that there's going to be that food. Remember last year, was it Erev Pesach? That like all the lettuce had... Yeah, that's the Eibishter. Like, even if you have all the money, you may still need that romaine lettuce for Pesach.
So did who wrote Chassidus HaLevavos?
Rabbeinu Bach.
Chassidus HaLevavos?
Yeah.
And so he also Shaar HaBitachon was part of Chassidus HaLevavos.
Correct.
So he thought,
This is one of the like...
what's his time period? History?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
I was gonna say we'll getting on that. How about this? Ask me 2 weeks after the fundraiser, because I have to do a lot more.
You want to research more.
Exactly, I want to do proper research on him, but
Because we're learning about it, I want to
yeah, for sure.
No problem.
I am with you. I am totally with you.
Hold on.
Yes. Okay, number 8. The alchemist does not linger in one place too long due to fear that his secret will be discovered. But one who trusts in Hashem feels secure in his land and his peace of mind in his place. As written, trust in Hashem and do good. Dwell in the land and be nourished by faith. And the righteous shall inherit the land and dwell forever in it. That's a good one. If you don't have to be nervous that everyone's going to come find you, then you can not be a nomadic Jew. Number 9. The alchemist's skill will not be accompany him in the afterlife. They may only provide him in this world security from poverty and from meeting other people. But for one who trusts in Hashem, the reward for his trust will accompany him in this world and in the next. As written, many are the pains of the wicked in the afterlife, but one who trusts in Hashem will be surrounded by kindness. And how great is your kindness that you hid away from those for those who fear you. Okay, so basically, yeah, like your money, it's how many, it's Egyptian, what are they called again? Pharaohs. Yeah, thank you. Used to do that. They used to pack themselves with like all their stuff and whatever. It's a whole situation what they used to do. But they were hoping that they could take it all.
What, when they died?
Yeah, they were hoping that they could take it all with them.
They believe in like a soul afterlife. After death, there's a soul life, and you need money to survive in the world.
Correct. And so they used to pack all their stuff with them.
So they can actually take stuff.
Yeah.
That's what they thought.
They're going to be born into this new world, and they're going to need their gold.
Yep. So meanwhile,
Wait, they used to put like points in their eyes, no? I think that was one of the.
It's been many years since I learned it, but like 10th grade. But I do remember that part. So meanwhile, we realize that our trust in the Eibishter is going to carry with us, like how much more so we're going to Hashem's, Hashem's afterlife. So how much more so? Number 10, if the alchemist's work is discovered, it will become a cause for his death because his work runs contrary to the natural order. And the director of the world will allow someone to kill him when he fails to hide his secret. And then read the little footnote thing. Hashem won't save him in a time of danger. Alternatively, Hashem will cause him to be caught when his time has come. Intense, but yeah. But for one who trusts in Hashem, when his trust becomes known, he will be held in high esteem and honored by the public. They will feel blessed to be near him or to see him, and his presence will bring good fortune to the city and shield the people from troubles. As written, the righteous man is the foundation of the world. Similar to Lais and Tsar, and that's actually interesting because I was going to say Mordechai. Now that Purim is coming.
I was about to say Rubashkin.
Oh, Rubashkin.
It's like what you were saying last time, that Rubashkin said that this was what carried him
through, yeah.
And this is like the exemplification of exactly what happened to Rubashkin.
Yeah.
He actually trusted in Hashem, and now people actually come to him and actually see him as, I don't know, I mean, I don't want to say anything wrong, but he's like a beacon of hope for people, So,
yeah. Yeah, so tonight we're doing our shir in honor of our dear friend Shoshana, who's getting married tonight. And she used to do a Shaar HaBitachon shir, and she absolutely loves Rubashkin. She admired him so much. And she asked him, she had bitachon, and she asked him if he would do a bracha under her chuppah. So I actually just saw him. He made a bracha achrita under her chuppah.
Oh,
Yeah.
So actually, Rubashkin, so his daughter is a good friend of mine. She's also my cousin. Second cousin. Anyway, so a few years ago, she emailed me and asked me if I would email him a hachata that I would take on for him to come out. And she was emailing a bunch of family and friends. And this was after many years of dating and nothing working out and just a lot of frustration and feeling like I was really doing everything. I was not letting go and trusting anyone. I was I'm doing this, right? So anyway, I emailed him and I told him that because of his inspiration with Bitachon, I was I'm gonna finally let Hashem do this. And I'm
That's amazing.
Bitachon that I'm gonna get married this year. And I got married that year.
Whoa!
And he got freed that year.
Wow!
And my husband and I went to visit him like a few months after he came out. And he was so excited, and he learned Chassidus with my husband. And he gave my husband Shaar HaBitachon as a gift.
Wow.
And it was just like, it was all just so exciting. And it's like really crazy. Like so much of like, you know, how I always used to think like, you know, everything, like I have to do whatever I can. Like that's how I was, you know, just in my mind is like, you do whatever you can. You don't let God do anything. Like you do everything. Like I didn't even realize that I was like not letting God do anything. Like I was like, all right, you got this.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, you know what, I really know. Like I need you. And he's like, okay, I'm here for you.
Wow.
It's crazy. Like
Wow.
anything, like, so I might as well from the start be like, okay, you got this. And then I know you want me to do a little bit, so I will. But
Yes.
like, you got this.
That's wow.
You know, it's amazing with that.
That is incredible. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
And Mazel Tov.
The quote I saw somewhere. This is God. I will be handling all your problems today, and I don't need your help.
I love that. I love that. That's amazing. Okay, we have a few minutes, so let's see if we can cover some more ground, and then we'll have discussion. Okay, among the benefits of trusting in Hashem regarding religious matters, one who trusts in Hashem, if he has wealth, he will be quick to fulfill his monetary obligations to Hashem and to the men with a willing and generous spirit. If he does not have wealth, he will consider the lack of wealth to be among the favors of Hashem to him, because he is exempt from the monetary obligations to Hashem and men which wealth brings, and he is spared from the mental distraction of protecting and managing it, as one of the pious used to say, "May Hashem send me from the desperation of the mind." They would ask him, "What is desperation of the mind?" He would answer, "To own property at the head of every river and be the center of every town." And this is what our sages refer to in saying, "The more possessions, the more worry." Everyone knows that, huh? And they said, "Who is wealthy? He who is content with what he has." So again, I said this the first class. This does not mean we should strive to be poor. We have to take it in context. And but we have to realize also that if Chas v'Shalom at some point, that's the situation we find ourselves in, or find ourselves. The Rebbe says you don't find yourself anywhere, but
Every Jew should be rich.
right, exactly.
Also, like I feel like if there's like an unexpected expense or something that like you felt like you weren't able to handle at the moment, you can take it out of your savings or borrow or whatever you need, or go in minus maybe even, and realize that this is what I need now, and Hashem will provide. And I think, doesn't mean that we have to become poor, but we all have situations where we have unexpected expenses.
If it's given to you, basically, you just receive.
Yes.
But then you always try to be rich.
Right. Exactly. So it's having the right mindset of how to deal with
that's the rich mind. Like we're thinking rich like money, but not necessarily we will always find yourself. And the rich mindset is, because I found myself in the situation, I'm going to make sure that I can cover that expense. And this is the rich mindset, because Hashem provided it to me in this way.
Yeah.
Because the fact is that we will be all rich, but some at the moment not yet. So
yes.
Can I just say something regarding that? I think that I was reading this book, Positivity Bias.
Oh,
that's the best.
Yes, I brought it last week.
Yes.
Yes.
Now you're going to Spanish, so even better for me. I love reading Spanish. Yeah, in Kabbalah, in the website in Kabbalah.org in Spanish. And so one of the main things that I remember in that book that it says that the Rebbe went through a lot of things. When the Rebbe says that we should be wealthy, the Rebbe says that we all are wealthy. Because if you think about this, it's something I've actually talked to friends, my husband's friends, when we're like on Show's tables or whatever, my own friend. Like if we think about 2 generations ago in Russia, like I have a friend whose mother's sister died from starvation. We're not in that position anymore. So we are like, if we focus on that the Rebbe actually saw that, and he's saying it right now, you are wealthy. You're wealthy. Like if you compare yourself, I'm not saying that to diminish the struggles, but it's like what the Rebbe said, like those lenses, just put on the lenses and see it, on a broader, like in the broader picture.
Right.
Of
If
the
you compare
humanity.
yourself, always people will be richer.
Right, but that's the beauty of it.
Next generation.
Yeah.
My parents, when they were really little, they were starving. My grandfather, like they barely survived. They couldn't sleep at night. They were so hungry.
So hungry.
They couldn't sleep. One of the crazy story,
Right.
my grandfather's neighbor knew that they were starving and he wasn't Jewish, and he cooked this huge meal for them and brought it over. And all the kids were staring at the food like, oh my God. And the second the door closed, my great grandmother, who I'm named after, picked it up and threw it all in the garbage. They wouldn't even touch it.
Because it was right.
And the kids were they were quiet. There's all this food, chicken, rice. Like the first times they had it. Like,
Exactly.
look, even that's like, hello.
Yeah.
Crazy.
You want to know something like
That's always said it to our kids, like probably a lot.
But but they did that so we could have the internet we have.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you something. When I grew up in Colombia, when I moved here, in Colombia, I remember we used to go to, I started becoming a little more religious there. And I remember going to the supermarket and it had, I'm not kidding, an aisle this big of kosher food. And that's what in Carulla, okay? And I used to like, it's limited. I came to this country when I was 25 and I was like, I couldn't believe it. My mind was like, aisles and aisles. This is a real story. It was like aisles and aisles of kosher food. I
was like, go to bingo. You'll have a really big trip.
So, it's like, it's a different, different lesson.
Costco.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
My mom too, like she remembers like in Russia that like they would go to the store and there's like no options. Most of the shelves are bare and it's like you just buy what they have.
And you have a list of kosher products.
We're
Well,
like,
no,
no,
my
this
mom
cereal we don't
even
like.
not
We're like,
kosher,
this
like my
one,
mom
that
grew up religious. Like Yeah. just in general, like food. It's a communist country. You get what we give you, and that's it. Everyone wears the same style glasses, the same style shoes, because that's what we're giving you.
Yeah.
And now we have so much.
Baruch Hashem. A lot to be grateful for.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. This was amazing. Guys, thank you so much. See, when I read this by myself, it's like one thing, but like, group setting, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much. We will, in Mitzvah Hashem, continue next week. And, okay. Everyone good? Has everyone enjoyed so far? If you have anything you think we could do differently or etc., I'm always open to hearing. But today was amazing, so I really, really appreciate it.
So you always just pick up where you left off and you just read through it like this style. And you don't know, it's indefinite how long.
So I was hoping to go a little quicker, but the thing is, our discussions have gone so like beautifully that I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if it's right to speed it up either. So we'll see. We're
I need to get those of this every week, not just finish it.
definitely finished. Yeah, I hear that. I definitely hear that.
Happy with
However it goes.
As long as you worry about the top thing, if you go home and like you said, you at least have
Some
I
boost
think
every.
also the discussion of the topic is so much more
Yes,
to be able to integrate it, not just read.
I
Why did you
agree.
initially think that it was a good idea to do like a limited time?
I've been doing Living Chassidus for 7 years, and if something drags on for too long, people start to drop off. So that's why I was like, okay, maybe we'll do 6 weeks, but no.
It's like
Um,
Pesach is in 6 weeks.
Right. So we'll see what we're up to in Pesach, and then.
But I think that for sure, whoever wants to join will continue for 6 weeks. So then everyone will have 6 weeks of game.
Exactly.
Continue. Can have a
Come over there. Yeah, that's very, very true. I wanted to finish off with I was gonna say I'll announce the closing whatevers, and then we'll continue the discussion after. But okay, so tonight's shir is Lili Nishmas Menachem Mendel Halevi Ben Shalom Halevi, and Refuah Shlema for my friend, and for Refuah Shlema for Shana Bas Miriam, for Shmuel Ben Karen, for Tinok Ben Nomi Aliza, and Uriel Ben Chaya. Yes, please send it over. Alma Sarah Bat Lital. Refuah Shlema. And we will, please keep us in mind, all this beautiful fundraising is all going to come to fruition on Sunday and Monday. Keep us in your calendar and follow us on Instagram.
I just uninstalled Instagram yesterday.
Oh, sorry. Mazel tov.
Yeah.
So you.
With 2 other friends. We all did it at the same time.
Wow. Okay, so then everyone else who still has Instagram can follow us on Instagram. And you can check out all of our shirim and all of our programs that are up on our YouTube channel. And hope to see you guys, if not Sunday, Monday. If you'd like to help us make phone calls or texts or reach out, let me know, because we could really use a lot of help Sunday and Monday. And if not, then I'll see you guys Wednesday. Yay, thank you.